Ladies and gentlemen, today is March 16th, 2016, and this is the KNKL SHOW, episode 285, where we learn to be better artists. My name is Kienan Lafferty, and today we are going to be doing an in-depth Q&A sent in by Oceanic Acid, aka Michaela. And the questions were so amazing, I just wanted to share them with you guys because I'm sure they're on a lot of your minds today. I'd like to ease a lot of your burdens, ease your minds, dispel a lot of myths, and hopefully excite you and motivate you to get out there and get that job that you want. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. But, before we get into that, I almost forgot the most important part. We got to take a stroll down the lovely lane because you guys have been being amazing and submitting your art. So if you'd like to take a look at all these for yourself, just type in that tiny URL /KNKL fanart. Go like the page, submit your art, get featured on the show, and come get some cookies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the good old questions. So let's start. And yes, shout out to Michaela. Thank you for these amazing questions. So we're starting off with, how competitive is the illustration industry? Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and read these, and then I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean as we go through. Okay, so I said there's always a high demand for talented artists who can work well with a team. Okay, and I want to stop right there. Okay, first point. A lot of people overlook that, yes, you will have to develop your skills with drawing and using your digital device, but a lot of people forget that the other important part is being able to communicate with a team. You're not going to build a game. You're not going to work on League of Legends and make those characters by yourself. These teams comprise of like 50 to 100 people working on one champion. So you need to be able to take feedback and also know when to push back and not just be a yes man. You need to know how to give feedback and to be humble and not be too offensive, but also be short and to the point, concise, right? So all of these social skills, and again, this is easier said than done because nobody really prepares you for this, at least in my opinion. In art school, you're not taught exactly how to work well with others. But if you're doing that in your school, then, hats off to you. But a lot of people overlook this, so make sure that you know how to work well with a team. All right, being on the outside, it can seem very competitive, and this is the other thing. A lot of people think that there's just like limited space, or if they don't, like by the time that they finish college, there's not going to be any room left, and they're just going to be out of luck, and that's just not the case. More often than not, the problem is that, yes, you finished college, but unfortunately, Mark Merrill and Brandon Beck don't know that you just finished college and are going to go kick down your door and ask you, hey, would you like to work for my AAA game company and fly out to Santa Monica? We would love to have you there. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for finishing college. You did a great job, and they'll shake your hand, and then you're good from there. No, that's not going to happen because those people out there that are running, Blizzard and Riot, they don't know that you exist yet. So you need to get out there and let them know that you exist. And we'll get a little bit more into that in just a moment. All right, moving on to the next question. Is the illustration job difficult in your opinion? And I said illustration is what artists were made to do, right? Of course, we all know that. Some days it's easy, natural, doesn't feel like work at all. Other days it's challenging, difficult, and painful. But satisfaction you get with completed project far surpasses any difficulties you face. Okay, so I'm gonna dispel a myth for you guys right here. I'm sure you've all heard this load of bull crap, and that is, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Never, ever work a day in your life. And that is the biggest load of bull crap that has ever been spouted from human lips ever. Because the fact of the matter is, yes, you will have days where it doesn't feel like work. Yes, you will have days where everything is natural. But you will also have days where you hate it. You hate what you're doing. You're so unconfident. You feel like crap. You feel like everything you do is just garbage and that you should just go find a nice big rock and crawl under it and then hope that nobody ever finds you again. Right? You're going to have days like that. And but hey, this is the way that I look at it, is if I would have bad days, I'd rather have it still doing something that I enjoy, right? As opposed to having a bad day selling jeans at the mall or working at Olive Garden like I used to, right? So, and the satisfaction that you get, regardless of how hard the path was to get there, is always worth it. It's always freaking worth it. So keep it up. Keep it up, guys. All right, next one. Higher education. All right, guys, now we're getting into some really interesting stuff. And this is probably one of the most common questions that I get. Does higher education teach the necessary technical skills to become an illustrator? And while this is more of a statement. And so I just said, yes, I'm confident any artist can learn the necessary things to become a professional illustrator by attending college. And if you have the opportunity to do so, then you should. All right. But then a lot of people take that and they say, well, oh man, I don't know if I can afford to go to CalArts. I don't have the money. I don't have $50,000 to pay for a semester or whatever it is now to go to CalArts. I actually don't know. I'm not sure, but it's expensive. It's expensive. I know that. And then we move on to the next question. Is the time and money spent at school, or is it worth actually spending time, money at school as opposed to self-teaching? Okay. And this is where I really enjoy talking to you guys about this stuff. Because I say that, yes, if you like the idea of having a more guided learning experience, right? If you played World of Warcraft and you download all those mods that tell you where to go, right? The little arrow pointing to complete your quests, then that is more so the convenience and the leisurely kind of, or more of a guided experience that you get from college. And there's nothing against that. There's absolutely nothing against that, but that's what you're getting. Okay. And you have the time and money. I strongly suggest, and I do strongly suggest going to school for art. However, many people write off the possibility of ever becoming an artist because they can't afford it, or they just, they're not in a position to go to college. And that's just simply not okay. It's not okay, guys. You can't write off the possibility of doing what you love just because you can't go to college. Because art, and this is why I'm able to say this, because art, more than any other profession, right? If you want to become a dentist, right? You can't just go in there and be like, I'm just really passionate. I have studied people's mouths all my life, and I know all about the surgery techniques. Just let me in there. Just give me those tools, and I'll get right to it, right? I'm just so passionate, right? Here's my work, right? Here's my portfolio. You can't do that if you want to become a doctor or a dentist. You must have a degree, and you must show that you've spent the time and the money to get the education to do those things. But with art, it's very interesting because you show, rather than showing a degree saying, yes, here I am an artist, you show a portfolio of your work saying that I am an artist here. And rarely, if ever, your diploma or your degree is on your resume, which, let's be honest, never gets looked at anyway. They just take that, they just chuck it in the back, and they open up your portfolio, right? So that's why I say don't put so much emphasis on the degree. And the degree is no guaranteed. A lot of people think the degree is a guarantee, but it's not. It is absolutely not. Because again, people don't know that you're there yet. So the most important thing is that you have that skill, you have that portfolio, and you're showing it to people. All right. Okay, so let's finish this up. Oh shoot. Okay. I strongly suggest going to school for art. However, many people write off the possibility. You can easily teach and learn yourself, but you have to have the drive to make it happen because no one else is going to be checking on you, okay? So you took off all the mods. You got to figure out this quest for yourself. Vanilla WoW just came out. You got to figure out all those quests. Nobody knows what's going on. You can't go on Thoughtbot or Wowhead or any of that crap. So for anybody who gets that reference, I'm really happy. I know WoW is not, WoW's still popular, but anybody who played Vanilla WoW, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, what are the pros and cons of being employed by a company versus freelance or self-employed? Yay, I love this question. Let's see what I said. Working in an office gives you a sense of belonging and the chance to be surrounded by other amazing, talented artists, which I do miss dearly every day. Oh, I miss my coworkers. They're so amazing. Easily the coolest people I've ever met in my life. So talented, so just like they have so much amazing knowledge and so many different ways of looking at art that I learned from working with them for just a year and a half. It just catapulted me. It just catapulted my skill into another realm just by being around these people. And that's what I really suggest for you guys. If you want to improve at art, you got to get around people that are good, really good, better than you, think differently than you, do things that you can't, and then ask them, hey, how do you do those things? How do you do those things? And then they'll teach you. All right? So that's the cool part about working in-house, right? However, long commutes, distractions throughout the day, less freedom with your time also come with that territory. So there's trade-offs, okay? Working from home gives you more control over your day, but demands are much higher responsibility of communication because now you have to communicate through email with your team. Time organization, being able to work comfortably alone because most of the time I'm right here. There's nobody else in this office with me. I have to do this all by myself. But again, I traded all that stuff because I desired freedom. I wanted that freedom of my time. I wanted to be able to have a little bit more control over myself and my life. So I gladly accept that. And I go in and I visit my coworkers every now and then anyway. So it's really good. You can have a nice balance. Okay, next up here. Would you recommend young people to pursue illustration as a career? In terms of difficulty, rates of employment, or success? And of course, this is a big fat yes, period. If you have a passion for something and you get good at it, it's only a matter of time before someone notices it. If a company doesn't come along and offer you they don't offer you a jab, you may just end up making one for yourself through a product you create or a company you start. And this kind of goes into a little bit of philosophy. I really believe that if you just get freaking good at something and you let enough people know, it is impossible that you are not going to be valued. It is impossible that you're not going to be wanted by a company, because it's all about giving value. It's all about, like, you're not trying to get something. You're not going out to get a job. The reason why the company wants you is because they can get something from you. They want you, and that's how you get a job. You don't go and like beg or like ask necessarily. When the time is right, and that's why I talk about like letting people know you're there, because when the time is right, it just happens. Okay, so next up, how important is a mentor? Okay, here's another excuse I always get. Oh, I really want to be good at art, but I don't have a mentor. I don't have somebody who can teach me. I have to do this all by myself. Oh, I can never do this by myself. Okay, so how important is a mentor? Did I have one? Do I mentor others? Okay, and this actually will feed into the Patreon. How about that? Cool. Mentors are very important, but I feel there is a false expectation that people have. They expect a single person. They expect a single person to come in and change their life or coach them to success. But my experience is that you'll have many different mentors, hundreds of different people that will just teach you one thing. Many people, like imagine you're on this path, right? This giant path outreaching to your goal. And along the way, there's like these little shops and like little towns, little side towns. You're on this quest. And in those towns, you'll meet this certain person who will just tell you one thing that will come in really handy for a quest down the line, or something down the line. And I find that is very fun. It's really all about the adventure of life. So you got to pay very close attention to when those mentors show up in your life, because oftentimes they don't even know that they're mentoring you. That's the other thing, is you don't say, oh, will you be my mentor? And then they're like, yes, I will. Here's what you have to do. And now on your way. It's like these people will mentor you without you even having to ask, without you even having to really, they don't even know that they're doing it. So let's see here. Keep your eyes out. Mentors are everywhere. I've chosen to mentor people through the KNKL Show on YouTube because I love you guys. And I hope to pass down some of the most important lessons I've learned over the years to developing artists. Yeah. And I do actually do, and we'll talk more about that on the Patreon, because there is a way that you can get in direct contact with me, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Okay. I don't even know if we need to get into it. It's on the Patreon, and I'll do the spiel at the end. Okay. How important is a good tablet? Example, Cintiq, when it comes to professional illustration. Okay. So here's another excuse. Oh, I don't have the best tablet. All I have is this crappy old Intuos 4, or is this a 5 or a 4? It's kind of dusty. I mean, it's my good old trusty, dusty Intuos 4. And a lot of people think that they need to have the latest and greatest in gadget, Cintiq, or friggin' the latest, greatest tablet gadget, right? The Cintiq giant thing like this, it like sits up and it's like this freaking big, and you're like hanging over, like drawn on this. And a lot of people think that you need to have that. A lot of people think that you need to have the latest technology in order to be a good artist, but it's not. That's just not the case. Especially Cintiq with like the display. Cintiq is basically it's a screen. I'm sure you guys all know this. It's a screen you can draw directly on, versus a tablet where you have to lay it on your desk and then you draw down here and look straight ahead at you would be my screen. So, but I actually prefer to do it this way. And having used both of them, the reason why I prefer it this way is because imagine my posture when I'm working like this. I can have my tablet right down here, and I'm working like this and looking straight ahead. Whereas with a Cintiq, I notice that I tend to do one of these things. I'll kind of hunch my neck forward, and I'll do one of these. And imagine doing this for 8 hours a day. Actually, I should probably turn this way. Imagine doing this for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? You can imagine that there would start to be like not only pain in your wrist because you're not taking breaks properly, but then it starts to creep up the forearm, down the back, and then up to your neck, and then eventually you can't even turn your head anymore. Like I would literally be driving to work and I'd be checking my blind spot, and my neck would like get stuck because of my terrible posture while I was working on a Cintiq. So if you are going to use the Cintiq, just be very mindful of that. You want to make sure you take breaks and watch your neck. Watch that neck. All right. You asked, but you must have some sort of tablet if you want to do digital illustration, because I was naive and I thought that digital artists work with the mouse. I thought that they worked with the mouse when I was first introduced to that stuff. I was like, how do they do that? And then I tried to do it. Looked terrible. And there's plenty of affordable used ones to find on the internet, right? So super easy. Super easy. Moving on. Is the time-consuming aspect of illustration worth it in terms of pay? Okay, and this is a great question. So being paid to do something that I'm confident and happy is already an amazing payoff, right? I'm sure that's the cheesy answer that everybody was waiting for, right? But as you become more and more valuable, your pay will increase to more than enough. It is more than enough. The year spent developing an art skill is more than worth the rewards you will get. And so let's kind of jump back to that middle part right there. As you become more and more valuable, your pay will increase. And that just has to do with, a lot of people think it's just time, but over time your skills will increase. But I found the thing that actually increases your value the most is, going back to the very top, your communication. The way that you can talk with people, the way that you can work with a group, the way that you can take direction, the way that you can give people what they're looking for, even before they ask for it. You can kind of look out and kind of see the trends of like things that have been happening, and you can save time. You can save time, you can be efficient. And that is really where a lot of the value comes in. Because getting better at your skill is just going to happen naturally, but you want to be looking out for those other skills that sometimes people overlook, like communication, like being versatile too. Also having a wider, broader range of things that you can do. Like, for instance, splash art. I did splash art, which is the big promo images that we would take weeks to paint. And then there would also be concept art, where you have to bang out a bunch of different tiny little drawings, like multiple tiny little drawings, like 20, 30 of them, within the course of a week, right? So you got to be able to work on a big piece and a bunch of little small pieces, and then even like animation and some of the particles, which I have shown you guys in the past. All right. Moving on to the final question. Let's see. If I could give one piece of advice to aspiring illustrators, what would it be? And this is where I'm going to leave you guys. So understand there will be a tipping point in your career. And the thing that is going to make that happen is getting noticed. To make that happen, you must post your work on forums. You must travel to conventions, meet people that work for the exact company that you want to work for, right? Reach out to them. If you can't travel to a convention, then figure out a way to get in contact with these people. Figure out a way to get noticed by these people. And let's see, call, email, apply for jobs, even if the position isn't available on their website, okay? Because this is the other thing. A lot of people say, oh, well, they're not looking for artists right now, because I checked the website and there's nothing on there. And I got news for you guys. If the company posts, if you see that there's an artist opening on their website, that means they are so beyond desperate. That means, and that can actually be a good thing. But just because no, who's updating the website? Nobody really gives a crap about updating the jobs available on the website. You know what is really interesting is that when I worked there, when I went to Riot, there was a listing on the website, luckily for me, and they were desperate. That's why they took me. And so I got lucky and I got it at the right time. But the interesting thing is once I got in there, I noticed we kept hiring artists for the whole year and a half that I was working there, and we're still hiring artists. So just because there's not a position available doesn't mean that we're not looking for more people that can add value and bring more efficiency to the company, bring more amazing ideas. We need more creative minds. We need more cool people. So don't forget about that, guys. All right, understand that no one is going to come to your house and offer you a job, because a lot of people think that's going to happen. You have to let them know you're there. Then with time, patience, and a bit of soul searching, you'll be noticed. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how it goes. And so I'd like to sum up everything that we have learned today. I want to tell you guys that, yes, it is going to take time. It is going to take time, and it is going to take some patience, and it is going to take you getting out of your comfort zone and posting your stuff where people are going to see it. If you like League of Legends, then be posting that stuff on the forums. Think about ways that you can create things for the communities that are a part of that. Like, have you seen the animations that people do for League of Legends and like how many like views those get? It's like, maybe those people get a job there. I don't know. I mean, we definitely had animation people working there when I was there, and like that's a good way to get noticed. Like, you got to do something different. You got to do something interesting. And yeah, exactly. So just do that stuff. Figure out who you want to work for. And it doesn't have to just be one company, because that's the other thing that I will say. Don't get so sidetracked into just one company. Do a bunch of different games. Do a bunch of different fan arts, you know? Or if you don't enjoy doing fan art, then there's tons of things that you can do if you want to do original work. Like, I have a good friend, Joshua Clay. He's an amazing tattoo artist working out of Miami, Florida, you know, and he does all just original art. He didn't do, I don't think he did a lot of fan art. He did do some fan art for StarCraft, but, there's just so many different jobs out there, guys. Like, you have to understand that there is plenty of work to be done, and we need a lot of artists, right? And as funny as it sounds, it's like there's always positions available, even though it seems like it's very scarce. So I hope this helps you guys out. Hope you guys got some value out of this Q&A session. Last thing I would like to say is I would like to thank my amazing sponsors: Laura Bashir, Captain Big Butt, and David Cariello. Yeah, but I'm so sorry, David. I'm so sorry. David Cariello, these people are my amazing sponsors. I love them so. And my sponsors of the past right here. Thank you guys for keeping the lights running at night. If you would like to sponsor the show, and also, this is an update, if you would like to sponsor the show and or get in contact with me, I have opened up some more tiers for the email critiques as well as sponsors for the show on the Patreon. So if you'd like to go take a look at that, then just click on the screen right here. Take you over to the Patreon. You can also get PSDs, all kinds of cool rewards monthly. And you guys can go have fun with that. So, with all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and end it. Thank you guys so much for joining me on YouTube. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. My name is Kienan Lafferty. I'll see you guys next week. And until then, you guys take care. See ya.